Spain does not reveal itself all at once. It unfolds in layers, like the peeling walls of an Andalusian village, like the echoing corridors of a cathedral in Toledo, like the morning mist lifting over the green hills of Galicia. The Spain most people carry in their imagination, flamenco dancers, bullfighters, endless beaches, is real, but it is only the surface. Beneath it lives a country of 17 distinct regions, each with its own language, its own rhythms, its own idea of what it means to belong. In Barcelona, the day begins with a café con leche and a buttery croissant in a narrow Gothic quarter alley. In Madrid, it starts with the rumble of the metro and the urgent clatter of 1,000 footsteps on Gran Via. In a whitewashed village in Andalusia, the morning might begin with nothing more than the slow opening of wooden shutters and the distant sound of a moped sputtering up a cobblestone lane. This is the Spain that defies a single story. It is a country where lunch happens at 3 in the afternoon and dinner rarely begins before 10 at night, where strangers greet each other with 2 kisses and conversations spill from cafe terraces onto the street, where the sacred and the festive collide during Semana Santa in Seville as hooded penitents walk silently through streets packed with onlookers, the air thick with incense and the scent of orange blossoms. But Spain is not a postcard. It is a living, breathing nation, navigating the tension between deep tradition and rapid change. It is a place where you can still find a shepherd guiding his flock across the high plains of Castilla y León, and in the same hour, step into a high-speed train that will carry you at 300 kilometers an hour from Madrid to Malaga. So what is it really like to live in Spain? Not to visit, not to holiday, to wake up here, day after day, season after season, to navigate the bureaucracy, celebrate the festivals, endure the August heat, and sit through the endless sobremesa, that sacred hour after a meal when plates remain on the table and conversation drifts on forever. That is the Spain we are about to step into. From the Atlantic cliffs of Galicia to the sun-scorched plains of Extremadura, from the industrial north of Bilbao to the Moorish gardens of Granada. This is not one story, it is many. Welcome to Life in Spain. Spain is the second largest country in Europe, and its geography tells a story of extremes. At its heart lies the Meseta, a vast, elevated plateau that covers nearly half the country. Drive across it, and you will understand something essential about the Spanish spirit. The horizon stretches endlessly. The sky feels enormous. In summer, the sun bakes the earth until the wheat fields of Castilla y León turn gold and the temperature climbs past 40 degrees in cities like Madrid and Córdoba. But travel north and the landscape transforms completely. In Galicia, where the Atlantic crashes against granite cliffs, the air is damp and cool. Mist clings to the hillsides and the landscape stays impossibly green. A shade of green so vivid it almost hurts. This is Celtic Spain, a land of bagpipes and stone crosses, where the sea shapes every aspect of life. Further east, along the Cantabrian coast, the Basque Country and Asturias offer a different kind of drama. Here, mountains plunge directly into the sea. Fishing villages nestle into narrow coves. The coastline of the Costa Verde is rugged, wild, and utterly unlike the Mediterranean postcards sold in souvenir shops. Then there is the south, Andalusia, where the Guadalquivir River winds through olive groves that stretch to every horizon. The province of Jaén alone produces more olive oil than the entire country of Italy. In the summer, the hills shimmer with heat. In spring, they explode with wildflowers. Granada sits at the foot of the Sierra Nevada, one of the few places in Europe where you can ski in the morning and swim in the Mediterranean on the same day. The Mediterranean coast, from Valencia up through Catalonia, offers a gentler climate. Orange groves, rice paddies, and endless beaches define this coastline. But go inland just 30 kilometers, and the landscape turns arid, almost lunar. The contrast is startling. In the Canary Islands, off the coast of Africa, volcanic landscapes create environments found nowhere else in Europe. Tenerife rises from the Atlantic like a black pyramid. Lanzarote looks like another planet. Fields of black lava dotted with green vines growing in volcanic ash. Climate shapes everything here. It determines when people eat, when they work, and how they live. The afternoon siesta, misunderstood by much of the world as laziness, was born from practical necessity. In a city like Seville, at 4 in the afternoon in August, the streets are empty because the sun is dangerous. Life retreats behind shutters. The city holds its breath until evening. And then, when the temperature finally drops, the streets come alive again. There is a rhythm to Spanish daily life, and it takes time to learn. The Spanish clock runs on its own logic. The morning begins slowly, a quick coffee at the bar, perhaps a piece of toast, rubbed with tomato and olive oil. In Madrid, the rush hour crowds pack into the metro, but even this frenzy has its limits. Work starts around 9, sometimes later. Then comes the rhythm that surprises every outsider. At around 11 in the morning, offices empty and bars fill for the almuerzo, a second breakfast more substantial than the first. In Valencia, this might mean a bocadillo of tortilla and a caña of beer. In the Basque Country, pintxos appear on the counter, small masterpieces of bread topped with anchovies, peppers, or crab. Lunch does not happen at noon. It does not happen at 1. Lunch happens at 2, or more likely 3 in the afternoon. And it is not quick. The menú del día, a 3-course set meal with wine and bread, is a Spanish institution. In Granada, order a drink and a free tapa arrives alongside it. In Barcelona and Madrid, business deals happen over these long lunches. The meal might stretch for 2 hours. This is not inefficiency. This is life. After lunch, the rhythm shifts. In smaller towns and across the south, the siesta still exists, not as a stereotype, but as a biological response to the crushing afternoon heat. Shops close, streets empty. The country naps. But in the big cities, Madrid, Barcelona, Bilbao, the siesta has largely faded. Office workers return to their desks. The global economy does not pause for Spanish tradition. The real magic begins in the evening. Around 7 or 8, as the heat breaks, the paseo begins. This is the evening stroll. Not exercise, not shopping, but a ritual of seeing and being seen. In Salamanca, families walk through the Plaza Mayor. In San Sebastian, couples promenade along La Concha beach. Grandparents push strollers. Teenagers gather in plazas. The energy is gentle, communal, alive. Dinner starts at 9:30, 10, sometimes 11. In summer, restaurant terraces buzz past midnight. Children run between tables while parents linger over wine. The Spanish day does not end early. It does not apologize for this. This daily rhythm, the late meals, the long pauses, the evening promenade, is not laziness. It is a different definition of productivity. A day measured not in tasks completed, but in moments lived. In Spain, Home is not just where you live, it is where your family gathers, and family rarely means just parents and children. The Spanish family is large and centrifugal. Grandparents, aunts, uncles, and cousins orbit close together, often living in the same neighborhood, sometimes in the same building. It is common for adult children to remain at home well into their 30s, not out of failure to launch, but because independence is defined differently here. Leaving home too early can feel like rejection. In the apartment blocks of Madrid's Salamanca district or Barcelona's Eixample, multiple generations often share a single building. A young couple might live on the third floor, while the grandmother lives on the first. Sunday lunch is non-negotiable. In a village near Zamora or Cuenca, 3 generations might sit around the same table every single day. The architecture of Spanish homes reflects this communal spirit. In the south, in cities like Córdoba and Seville, the traditional house is built around an interior courtyard, the patio. Hidden behind plain street-facing walls, these courtyards burst with potted plants, trickling fountains, and colored tiles. They are private worlds, shaded and cool, where families gather away from the punishing sun. In the north, in the Basque Country, the caserio, a large stone farmhouse, once housed extended families under one roof, along with livestock on the ground floor. These homes were self-sufficient worlds, passed down through generations. The Mediterranean coast tells yet another story. In Valencia and along the Costa Blanca, modern apartment towers rise from the shoreline. Many are second homes, owned by families from Madrid who escape to the coast every August. Spanish families often pool resources to buy a coastal apartment together, another expression of the collective mindset. Inside these homes, life centers on the kitchen and the living room. Spanish apartments tend to be smaller than their Northern European equivalents, but what they lack in square meters, they make up for in warmth. The television plays in the background. Children's voices echo through open windows. Neighbors talk from balcony to balcony. The Spanish home is rarely quiet, and that is exactly how people here prefer it. There is no understanding Spain without understanding its food. Not just what Spaniards eat, but how they eat, the rituals, the timing, the deep regional pride that turns every meal into a statement of identity. Begin in Galicia, in the northwest, where the Atlantic delivers some of the finest seafood in Europe. Percebes, goose barnacles, harvested by hand from wave-battered rocks, are a delicacy worth risking your life for. Pulpo a feira, octopus boiled in copper pots and sprinkled with paprika and olive oil, is served on wooden plates in every village festival. Move east to the Basque Country, and food becomes philosophy. San Sebastian has more Michelin stars per capita than almost any city on Earth, but you do not need a starred restaurant to eat magnificently here. The pintxos bars of the old town serve miniature works of art: anchovy with olive, mushroom with foie, crab with piquillo pepper, all lined up along the counter, waiting to be chosen. In Valencia, no conversation about food lasts long without mention of paella. The real version, made with rabbit, chicken, green beans and snails in a wide, shallow pan over an open fire, tastes nothing like the tourist versions served on the coast. Valencians will tell you, with absolute certainty, what belongs in paella and what is heresy. In Madrid, the cocido madrileño, a multi-course stew of chickpeas, vegetables, and meats, speaks to the city's working-class roots. Waiters serve the broth first, then the vegetables, then the meat, in a ritual that takes the better part of an afternoon. Down south, in Andalusia, gazpacho and salmorejo offer salvation from the summer heat. Cold, creamy, and made from the simplest ingredients: tomatoes, bread, olive oil, garlic. They prove that Spanish cuisine does not need complexity to be unforgettable. Then there is the ritual that binds the whole country together: tapas. In Granada, every drink still comes with a free plate of food, a tradition that has disappeared in much of Spain, but survives here with pride. In Leon, the tapeo is a way of life, moving from bar to bar, each one known for a single speciality, eating standing up, talking over one another. And across the country, certain food items carry near-sacred status. Jamón ibérico, the black-hoofed pigs that roam the oak forests of Extremadura, eating only acorns in their final months, produces a ham that tastes of the landscape itself. Olive oil from Jaén, saffron from La Mancha, cheese from the mountains of Asturias. The Spanish attitude toward food is not pretentious. It is passionate, but it is also democratic. The best tortilla de patatas is not found in expensive restaurants. It is made by someone's grandmother, in an unassuming bar, served at room temperature on a white plate with a toothpick sticking out of it. Eating in Spain is never just eating. It is a declaration of place. If Spanish culture celebrates life, the Spanish economy has long tested that promise. Spain's unemployment rate has haunted the country for decades. At its worst, in 2013, it reached over 26%. More than half of young people could not find work. An entire generation of Spaniards left the country, moving to Germany, the United Kingdom, and beyond. They called it the lost generation. The scars remain. Even today, with unemployment finally dropping below 10% for the first time in over a decade, the job market feels fragile. Many workers survive on temporary contracts. Contratos basura, they call them, garbage contracts, with no stability, no long-term security. The sectors that drive the economy tell their own story. Tourism is the giant. From the Costa del Sol to the Balearic Islands, millions of visitors fuel the economy each year. In Malaga, the cruise ships dock daily. In Ibiza, the summer season creates an entire parallel economy of bars, clubs, hotels, and restaurants. But tourism work is seasonal, low-paid, and often exhausting. When the tourists leave in October, the paychecks stop. Agriculture is another pillar. In Almeria, the sea of plastic, thousands of greenhouses stretching to the horizon, grows vegetables for all of Europe. Workers from North Africa and Eastern Europe labor under those plastic roofs in temperatures that can exceed 50 degrees. The tomatoes on your supermarket shelf in Berlin or London probably began their journey here. In the Basque Country and Catalonia, the industrial north, a different Spain exists. Bilbao transformed itself from a rusting industrial port into a cultural capital, anchored by the Guggenheim Museum. Barcelona has become a tech hub, drawing startups and digital nomads from across the continent. Madrid, meanwhile, is Spain's financial engine: banks, multinational headquarters, and a growing tech scene centered around the Four Towers business district. The cost of living tells a complicated story. Compared to Northern Europe, Spain remains affordable. A coffee costs barely more than €1. A 3-course lunch with wine might be 12 or 14 euros, but salaries are correspondingly low. An average Spanish salary is roughly half what a German or Dutch worker earns, and housing, especially in Madrid, Barcelona, and Malaga, has become painfully expensive. Rents have soared, pushed up by tourism, foreign investment, and a chronic shortage of supply. The Spanish relationship with work is perhaps best captured by a phrase you hear often: trabajar para vivir, no vivir para trabajar. Work to live, not live to work. Spaniards value free time, family time, time spent doing nothing in particular. The long lunch, the evening paseo, the August holiday, these are not luxuries, they are rights. But this philosophy exists in tension with modern economic realities. Spain works some of the longest hours in Europe, yet productivity lags behind. The traditional split shift, working from 9 to 2, breaking for 3 hours, then returning from 5 to 8, keeps people at their desks until evening, far later than in most countries. Change is coming. Remote work, accelerated by the pandemic, has given some professionals the freedom to leave Madrid and Barcelona for smaller cities like Valencia, Malaga, and Bilbao, places that offer urban energy with a slower pace and lower costs. The economy may be Spain's great challenge, but the response, as with most things here, is resilient and creative. Spain lives in the street. This is not a country of private gardens and drawn curtains. Life happens in public, on plazas, terraces, park benches, sidewalk cafes. The Spanish social life is loud, warm, and gloriously uncontained. At the heart of this is the plaza. Every Spanish town, no matter how small, has one. In Salamanca, the Plaza Mayor glows golden at sunset, its arcades filled with students and tourists and elderly couples arm in arm. In a tiny village in Extremadura, the plaza might be nothing more than a patch of concrete with a single fountain and 3 benches, but at dusk it fills. Children kick footballs, old men play dominoes, teenagers flirt. The whole town passes through. The paseo, the evening stroll, is not optional. It is a social obligation disguised as leisure. In Granada, the paseo winds through the Albaycin, the old Moorish quarter, where the view of the Alhambra at sunset stops people mid-sentence. In Santander, it follows the curve of the bay. Every city, every town has its route. The point is not the destination. It is being seen, greeting neighbors, stopping for a chat. Then there are the festivals. Semana Santa, Holy Week, transforms cities across Spain into theaters of devotion. In Seville, the processions last all night. Massive floats carrying the Virgin and Christ sway through narrow streets, carried on the shoulders of hidden penitents. The crowd presses close. Someone sings a saeta, a raw, flamenco-infused lament from a balcony, and the entire street falls silent. A few months later, in Pamplona, the running of the bulls during San Fermin draws thrill-seekers from across the world. For 8 days, the city does not sleep. White clothes, red bandanas, and the terrifying thunder of hooves at 8 in the morning. In Buñol, near Valencia, La Tomatina turns an entire town red with thrown tomatoes, a festival with no religious meaning, no political statement, just pure, joyful absurdity. Each region guards its own traditions fiercely. In Catalonia, castellas form human towers that rise 10 stories high in village squares. In Galicia, the queimada, a flaming punch of aguardiente, is prepared with incantations against evil spirits. In the Canary Islands, carnival rivals Rio's in color and excess. The Spanish social calendar is not an afterthought. It is the structure around which the year is built, and yet the most important tradition might be the smallest, the sobremesa. After a meal, when the plates have been cleared but no one stands to leave, that is the sobremesa. It can last 30 minutes. It can last 3 hours. Coffee is served. Someone orders a digestif. Conversation wanders from politics to football to family gossip and back again. No one rushes. No one looks at their phone. This is not wasted time. In Spain, this is the whole point. For all its beauty and warmth, living in Spain comes with real difficulty. The bureaucracy is legendary, and not in a good way. Getting a residency permit, registering a car, opening a business, even something as simple as changing your address can become an odyssey. The concept of the cita previa, the prior appointment, dominates life. You wait weeks for a slot, then you arrive and wait again. Then you discover you brought the wrong form. The system can grind even the most patient soul to exhaustion. The labor market remains Spain's deepest wound. Youth unemployment still hovers around 25%. The most educated generation in Spanish history faces precarious contracts and stagnant wages. Many young Spaniards have accepted that they will never own a home in the city where they grew up. The dream of independence, a steady job, a flat, a life, feels further away than it did for their parents, who often had less education but far more security. Housing is now a crisis. In Madrid and Barcelona, rents have risen so steeply that teachers, nurses, and young professionals spend half their income on a single room in a shared flat. Malaga, once affordable, has been transformed by digital nomads and foreign investors. In the Balearic Islands, workers in the hospitality industry sleep in vans or commute from the mainland because they cannot afford to live where they work. The political landscape reflects these tensions. Spain's regional identities run deep, and the question of Catalan independence has dominated headlines for over a decade. In October 2017, Catalonia held a referendum that Spain's constitutional court declared illegal. The crisis that followed, the police crackdown, the declaration of independence that lasted seconds before Madrid imposed direct rule, the imprisonment of Catalan leaders, left wounds that have not healed. The Basque Country carries its own scars from decades of ETA violence. Even now, conversations about national identity can turn heated in an instant. Climate change is rewriting Spain's physical reality. The country is drying out. Reservoirs in Catalonia and Andalusia have dropped to alarming levels. Farmers in Murcia fight over water allocations. The Ebro Delta, south of Barcelona, is literally disappearing, eaten away by rising seas and reduced sediment flow. Desertification creeps northward from Almeria each year. Wildfires have grown more frequent and more destructive. And then there is the loneliness. For all its social warmth, Spain can be a difficult place to enter. Friendships here are deep, forged over years and decades. Foreigners and newcomers from other Spanish regions often find that breaking into established social circles takes far longer than expected. The famous Spanish openness has a hidden threshold. You are welcome at the bar, at the terrace, at the plaza, but getting invited to someone's home, to the Sunday lunch, or the family gathering, that takes time. Spain is caught between two centuries, and you can feel the tension everywhere. In the heart of Madrid, in the financial district of Cuatro Torres, young professionals in suits stare at dual monitors in glass-walled offices. They order lunch on delivery apps and communicate with colleagues in English. 70 kilometers away, in a village in the province of Avila, a farmer still uses a mule to plow his land. The church bell still rings the hours. the postman still knows everyone by name. Both of these are Spain. Both are true. Technology has transformed Spanish life with astonishing speed. Spain has one of the highest smartphone penetration rates in Europe. Mobile payment systems like Bizum have replaced cash for everything from splitting a dinner bill to paying rent. High-speed AVE trains connect Madrid to Barcelona in 2.5 hours, to Seville in the same, to Valencia in under 2, making the country feel smaller with each passing year. But traditions persist with remarkable stubbornness. The siesta may be dying in the cities, but in the pueblos of Castilla y León and Andalusia, shops still close from 2 to 5. The long lunch, far from disappearing, has become a point of cultural pride, a deliberate rejection of the hurried, sandwich-at-the-desk culture spreading from Northern Europe and America. The Spanish village, however, faces an existential threat. Rural depopulation, España vaciada, the emptied Spain, has hollowed out vast stretches of the interior. Walk through the streets of a village in Teruel, or Soria, or Cuenca, and you will find rows of shuttered houses, a single bar that opens for a few hours a day, a school that closed years ago. Young people leave for the cities and never return. The few who stay grow old. Yet even here, there are signs of renewal. Remote workers, priced out of Madrid and Barcelona, are discovering that for the cost of a cramped apartment in the city, they can buy a 3-story house in a medieval village. Some of these new arrivals bring children, ideas, energy. A village that was dying gets a second chance. A vacant shop becomes a co-working space. The school reopens with 8 students instead of 3. The tension between modern and traditional plays out in small, everyday ways. In a bar in Bilbao, an elderly man reads the morning paper while a teenager next to him scrolls through TikTok, both eating the same tortilla de patatas. In a plaza in Cáceres, a medieval tower casts its shadow over a tapas bar, playing electronic music. Every Spanish city contains these collisions, old stone walls lit by LED, grandmothers video calling grandchildren in London. Spain does not choose between past and future. It carries both, sometimes awkwardly, sometimes beautifully, but always together. So why do people stay? Why do young Spaniards, despite the brutal job market and the impossible rents, choose to build their lives here rather than leave for Berlin or London or Amsterdam? Why do retirees from Britain and Germany and the United States keep arriving year after year, deciding that their final chapter will be written under the Spanish sun? The answer is never one thing. It is a constellation of small reasons that add up to something larger. There is the light, the particular quality of Spanish sunlight, from the honey gold mornings in Barcelona to the orange-tinted evenings in Seville. A light that seems to bathe everything in warmth and possibility. There is the food, the simple perfection of a tomato rubbed on toast in a bar in Jaén. The Sunday paella cooked over an open fire in a village outside Valencia. The fact that here, eating well is not a luxury, but a birthright. There is the street life. The knowledge that any evening, any night of the week, you can step outside and find the city alive. Terraces full, plazas humming, children playing football past midnight, while their parents linger over wine. In Spain, you are never alone unless you choose to be. There is the health and the pace. Spaniards live longer than almost anyone on earth. The Mediterranean diet, the daily walking, the strong social bonds. Together, they create a longevity that statistics cannot fully explain. The Spanish secret is not in the food or the exercise alone. It is in the way people live, connected, unhurried, together. There is the culture, the impossible richness of it. Standing before Picasso's Guernica, in Madrid's Reina Sofia Museum, walking through the Alhambra, in Granada at dusk, when the carved walls glow pink and the fountains whisper in the gardens, hearing flamenco explode from a cave in the Sacromonte, unplanned and unrehearsed, raw with emotion. There is the sense that life here is measured by something other than productivity. A Spanish friend once put it this way: in other countries, time is money. In Spain, time is life. You work, yes, but work serves the evening paseo, the Sunday lunch, the August holiday, not the other way around. And then there is something harder to name: a feeling. The feeling of walking through a plaza on a warm night, hearing laughter from every direction, children's voices, the clink of glasses, guitar notes floating from an open window. The feeling that you are part of something, a community, a culture, a way of life that has been evolving for thousands of years and will continue evolving long after you are gone. Spain is not perfect. The bureaucracy grinds. The summer heat suffocates. The economy frustrates. The political divisions run deep. But at the end of the longest day, when the heat finally breaks and the streets fill again, when someone pours you a glass of wine you did not order and says, "Quédate, stay a while," the problems fade. People stay in Spain for the same reason people have always stayed here. Because life in this sun-washed, complicated, beautiful country simply feels fuller. The days stretch longer. The conversations matter more. The food tastes better. The laughter comes easier. Not because Spain is easier than anywhere else, but because being alive, in the Spanish way, is just a little closer to what life is supposed to feel like. And that is worth staying for. If this journey through Spain moved something in you, a memory, a dream, a question, share it below. Just one word. The place in Spain that calls to you.